Toronto is really hot in the summer, really cold in the winter, so you can fully utilize 2 different wardrobes. And it's really easy to get around. I either bike, walk, or take the transit system, the TTC, which is awesome. And we also have these, which is actually an amphibious vehicle. It turns into a boat. And so it drives right into the water and swims away. And if that isn't cool, then I don't know what is. You can see seaweed on the back of it. That means it was in the water.
The night is deafening when the silence is listening.
One of the hardest things to do in life is to discover yourself. And in that same time, as a musician, one of the hardest things to do is to discover your sound and your pocket and where you belong in music. And that was the biggest struggle for me, just trying to find out what I did the best. I ended up finding out which one made me the most happy when I wanted to tell the whole world that I wrote this song. And the first one really began with February Air. And I was so proud of this song. And I wrote on the acoustic guitar. I was alone in this hotel room. It was on Valentine's Day and I was feeling really down in the dumps.
This particular hotel I stayed at right here for a week in February of 2006. Lonely Nights at the Metropolitan led to February Air, written up on one of those floors.
So a month after I wrote February Air, I packed up all my stuff and moved to Toronto on my own. And I had no idea what I was doing.
When I first moved to Toronto, I started really delving into comics, and along with figuring out myself musically, I was also discovering the power of Wonder Woman comics and all that fun stuff. And I ended up exploring downtown and finding the Silver Snail, which is a great comic book store on Queen Street.
My mom flew out with me and helped me set up my apartment, and she helped me paint my apartment into something that I loved. So I put superheroes all over the walls and big pictures of Wonder Woman with like a double-headed axe and stuff. It was cool. If I ever got scared, I'd just look at the paintings that me and my mom put on the walls in that first week when I moved. The first year in this kind of lonely apartment, I didn't know anybody. I moved solely for the purpose of honing my writing skills, and I knew I needed to bring this to the stage because I started coming up with a bunch of great songs, but I didn't know anyone. I didn't have a band, and I'd never really known how to pull together a band from nothing. I was looking for a keyboard player and a drummer, and I would judge them a good percentage on their shoes, see what they were wearing, and you can tell a lot about a person by the shoes. We learned a lot from Forrest Gump. And Adam, who's my keyboard player now, I met him on Myspace. I think he had these old, beat-up slip-ons. And I'm like, okay, not a huge statement, but it's got soul, you know? So we just started to practice, and then the first show came around, and I remember it was at the Supermarket, a venue called the Supermarket, and it was the day before I turned 20. And it was good. Like, that was the first, I mean, everybody sucks when they first start doing something, so I'm sure it sounded terrible, but it was great. And we just kept building it up and getting more and more shows, and we didn't really have enough that we thought would make a kick-ass record. We thought, well, there's 6 amazing songs. Why put out those extra 4 when they're not as good? Let's put out an EP, like a taster, right? Before I knew it, we were on tour last fall for the first time, the fall of 2008. And one day out in the middle of nowhere in our van, I got a text message that said I was nominated for a Juno. And that kind of came out of nowhere because this EP kind of just came out, just doing small tours as an opener, and all of a sudden you're nominated for something that kind of just feels like it started in your bedroom, you know?
After all these like residencies and really small half-ass shows, started touring a little bit, and then came back to Toronto to play the Mod Club. And like the week leading up to it, I was getting updates on the numbers that were selling, and all of a sudden I realized, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's people coming out to this show. And I mean, it was kind of like my first big headliner. And then the day came and it was sold out. And it was such a sweet moment because I'm like, I can sell at the Mod Club.
We were taking things really slowly and just kind of incubating the steps up until the full length comes out, and that's what we're all kind of looking forward to right now, which is very soon.